You're good to go.
Okay. Welcome to the meeting of the Board of Directors of the State of Hawaii Department of Agriculture. I am Chair Sharon Hurd. Prior to calling the meeting to order, Stephen Dalton will explain how the public can participate in this hybrid meeting, which can be accessed by video conference, telephone, or in person.
Good morning, everyone. As an attendee, your microphone will be automatically muted during the meeting unless you're providing testimony. For each agenda item you wish to testify on, please click the raise hand button found on your Zoom screen. Board staff will individually enable each testifier to unmute their microphone. When recognized by the chair, please unmute your microphone before speaking and mute your microphone after you finish speaking in order to prevent audio feedback. When testifying, you'll be asked to identify yourself and the organization, if any, that you represent. Each testifier will be limited to 2 minutes of testimony per agenda item. If there are any individuals joining by phone, when the chairperson asks for public testimony, you may indicate you want to testify by entering star and then 9 on your phone's keypad. After entering star and then 9, a voice prompt will let you know that the host of the meeting has been notified. When recognized by the chairperson, you may unmute yourself by pressing star and then 6 on your phone. A voice prompt will let you know that you are unmuted. Once you are finished speaking, please enter star and then 6 again to mute yourself. In the event that connectivity is lost and attempts to repair the connection exceed 30 minutes, the meeting may be terminated or continued to another date and time. Consult the webpage for updated information. And again, for internet, telephone, and in-person access when testifying, you will be asked to identify yourself and the organization, if any, that you represent. Each testifier will be limited to 2 minutes per agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Calling the meeting to order at 9:10. Sorry, I don't remember. 9:08. 9:08. Thank you very much. Just a reminder that testifiers are reminded there is a 2-minute limit of testimony per agenda item. Roll call vote. I will take a roll call vote of the board members present. When your name is called, please indicate your presence with a here or present and state who, if anyone, over the age of 18 is present in the room with you. This also serves as a roll call vote. For each subsequent vote, I will ask if there are any objections or recusals. If there are none, then the motion will be approved on the same basis as this initial roll call. Roll call. Sharon Hurd, present. Deputy Director Ryan Kanakaole, being represented today by Wendy Gady. No?
I'm Deepin.
Deputy Director Ryan Kanakaole. Excused. Dr. Parwinder Grawal.
Present. C.F.R.
Thank you. Anna Lowe.
Yes.
Thank you. Representing DBED, Wendy Gady.
Present.
Present. And Diane Lay.
Yes, I'm present and I am alone. Thank you.
And first meeting for new member Nathaniel Oswald.
Yeah, present, and I'm the only one on the meeting.
Thank you. Fred Calf McCoy is excused, Randy Cabral excused, and Young.
Present and alone. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning. James Gomes.
Present and alone.
Thank you. Moving on to approving of the minutes for the June 25th, 2024 meeting. May I have a motion to approve the June 25, 2024 minutes?
So moved, Jimmy.
Thank you,
Second.
Jimmy. Second by Diane. And one more. Seconded by Diane. Wrong page. Does anyone from the public wish to give testimony?
There are no hands raised at this time.
Okay, thank you. And board discussion? Calling for the vote. Are there any objections or recusals?
Chair, I'll recuse. I wasn't present.
Thank you. Executive Director Gady.
May not be enough to adopt them, because I think you need an unanimous. Because you only have 6 members present.
I think now we have 7.
Okay, sorry, I'm sorry.
No, 1, 2. One more, please. We're gonna take a roll call, a vote, and,
Take the vote.
okay,
Then you can count it in.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
not at all. With the recusal, we will be taking a roll call vote. I vote to accept. Dr. Parwinder, Grawal,
Present.
yes? No, I'm sorry. Do you accept the minutes from the previous meeting on June 25th?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Excuse and Diane Lay,
I accept the minutes also.
thank you. And Young,
Yes,
you're right.
yes, to accept. Mhm.
Did you get Nathaniel?
I did. Nathaniel was not here at the last meeting.
You can vote though.
Oh,
Anyone can vote.
Nathaniel,
Yeah, I read them. Thank you. Accepted.
thank you. And Jimmy.
Accept.
Okay, so we do have enough. Thank you, everybody. The minutes are
You
approved
gotta
as.
raise hand, Diane.
Chair, sorry. Dr. Grenwell, were you at the last meeting? Because I don't see you on the list of, in the minutes.
He has to be there.
Diane, apparently, from council, you don't have to be present to vote. You just
Oh,
have to,
okay. Okay,
but you can recuse yourself if you so choose.
okay. Thank you.
Chair,
Good to know.
this is Jimmy.
Yes, Jimmy.
Who's sitting next to you on your left? We didn't get an
Oh.
introduction.
Sorry, let's do
Your
the
left.
introduction on my left.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Jennifer Waihe Polk with the Department of Attorney General. I'm just filling
Okay.
in for.
Oh, Brian.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Jamie, for that. So the minutes are approved as submitted. Introductions have been completed, so we're going to take on item 4 right now. Communications from the divisions and administration. Item A1, request for approval to award leases to various awardees and backup positions. TMK's number 141005007, 85034-004, 52001-011, Islands of Oahu and Molokai. May I have a motion to approve the request?
So moved.
Thank you, Wendy. May I have a second?
Second, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy. Presentation by staff?
Hi, good morning, Chairperson, members of the board. Roy Hasagawa, Property Manager, Agricultural Resource Management Division. A public notice of this position was published on February 16, 2024, making available for 13 parcels. Exhibit A shows the qualified applicants and their bids. And staff recommends that the Board of Agriculture approve issuance of the appropriate right of entry document to the successful bidders for the lots and issue appropriate general leases subject to the completion of lease prerequisites, and also to approve backup bid proposals, so up to 5 in the event that the highest bidder fails to complete the lease prerequisites. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Does anyone from the public wish to give testimony?
There are no hands raised at this time.
Okay, but board discussion?
I have a question.
Thank you, Jimmy.
One is, and we've had some lots of the Pohoa ag lots numbers that you have listed on the agenda. Is there any reason why there was no applicants for these lots?
Oh, Jimmy, I think this is the different item. Is this that item?
Yeah.
It is. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jimmy.
Sorry, Jimmy, you're asking why there was no applicants?
Yeah, I was just curious on that because I don't see anything there on that Pohoa lots bid amount. There was no applications. Is there any reason why there were no applications for the Pohoa lots?
When we put out the public notice, no one turned in application for any of the Pohoa, parcels. Just a little thing, in the past 2 years, we put out public notices and we've had interest, so we continued again, but this time around, there were no applications, submitted to us.
Is all the infrastructure in, like the water and roads and everything else to these lots?
Not on the agenda. It's-
One,
Yes, Jimmy.
Good morning, James. This is Brandy.
Hi,
I'm
Brandy.
Mining property manager with the Ag Resource Management Division on the Big Island. Yes, to answer your question, yes.
Okay. And what sizes are the acreages of these lots? Just an average.
It ranges anywhere. We have some 5-acre parcels, but in this case, I believe they're like 20-acre. I think they're 20-acre parcels, 15 acres. So it's a little bit larger.
And how long has Brandy, how long has these lots been vacant?
Quite a while.
Quite a
So
while.
actually-
So,
We're actually going to be having I'm going to be meeting with some of the community members in September, actually, to try and see if we can get more movement in that area, get some interested parties to fill out some applications when we go out for bid the next time.
yeah, that'd be great, especially when we can advertise, or the DOA has farm to school and stuff like that, programs and so forth, so get some interested farmers so they can utilize these lots, these ag lots. That'd be
Yes.
great. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Young?
Yeah, just real fast, Jimmy, this has come up before as far as, the vacancy of the lots, and, some of the stuff we talked about was just, the public notice, process, we may be using, more antiquated marketing techniques, than some other folks and stuff like that. But you're right, I think for all of us in our board member positions, for ourselves, community schools, for example, our campus is always looking to purchase more. So just offering that to the department, if we can create these incentives, to help kind of sweeten the pot for people to apply, create that market, then, we're definitely on our side, we're willing to do that. So.
Absolutely, we sure need all the help we can get, so we get some farmers out there.
Yeah, thank you. So Brandy did mention that there will be a public meeting held in that area, sponsored by
Representative Ilagan.
It's the representative of the area is sponsoring a workshop, so hopefully he's committed to getting some people on that property.
Hopefully.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other?
So real quick, I have just a question. It's because it's been vacant for such a long time and some of the parcels are 20 acres. Could that be resolved in putting animals rather than farming? Could they use it for animals to lease?
Well, right now, the character of use is diversified agriculture, so it's limited to just producing, plants, not animals.
Okay.
Any further board discussion? Seeing no hands. Calling for the vote. The vote to approve the request. Any objections or recusals? Hearing none. The request is approved. Thank you. Second item, A2. Request to approve rental offset general lease number S-4935, OCR Incorporated, lessee, TMK 4-1-035-014, Waimanalo, Agricultural Park, Lot 14, Waimanalo, Ko'olaupoko, Island of Oahu, Hawaii. May I have a motion to approve the request?
So
So move, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Wendy, for the second. Presentation by staff.
Okay, thank you. The lessee, OCR Incorporated, submitted expense receipts and equipment and services rendered for cutting vegetation, clearing debris, and installing a perimeter fence. The lessee has started growing organic mushrooms and continues to clear the land. The expenses to prepare the land have exceeded the amount totaling 2 years of rental offset for the lease. The lessee is requesting rental offsets for 2 years of base annual lease rent in the amount of $72,000. Staff recommends that the Board of Agriculture approve the lessee's request for a rental offset for up to 2 years, from October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Does anyone from the public wish to give testimony?
There are no hands raised from the public right now.
Okay. Board discussion. Thank you, Jimmy.
So Roy, prior to 2023, October, what was this parcel used for, this 4 acres? Since we had it in the system since 1990.
The previous lessee, it was nursery, production.
Nursery production.
Yes.
Did he use all of the 4 acres in nursery production prior to this leasee?
Not the entire, no.
Okay, so what kind of work that he's doing on this 4 acres that would take 2 years of rental, the 72,000?
There's 2 easements that were not maintained by the previous lessee, so he cleared those areas. And what he's gonna use the property for, he needed to do extensive clearing, and he put in a better perimeter fence than what was originally, what was existing.
I would sure like to have seen pictures before and after.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is just the after pictures.
Or will you be able to provide before and after pictures to the board?
I have, I can send photos, how it, before the clearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jimmy. We'll get that to you.
Thank you.
Any other, oh, I see N.
I think,
I'm sorry. And before you begin, I'd like to recognize that Deputy Director Ryan Tanaka-Ole has joined. Ryan, can you let us know if you're alone in the room?
Yes, I'm alone. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, Ann. Please proceed.
not at all, not at all. We serve at your pleasure. No, to Jimmy's point, you know, for staff would be good, you know, just for the public to have like maybe like a little table. Like, we don't have to see the business receipts or anything like that, but just, you know, maybe a couple categories to show that, you know, that we know that the expenses did exceed the base rental. It makes it easier for us to vote on, I think.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, let's see, did submit it to us, but yeah, the majority of it was land clearing, and then the materials for the fence and the gate.
Yeah, so
And
maybe my category, you know, of course, you guys are staff, so you know, you do what's easiest for you, but you know, if it's like clearing costs, you know, tenant improvements or whatever, if you just like a couple broad categories, you know, we don't want to expose businesses specific receipts, but you know, just to get an idea of what the costs are.
Okay, yes.
Thank you, Roy. I guess what the board is saying is if you can give them more information to make a reasoned decision on whether to approve the request. And if you have to redact information on the business, I guess.
You could provide, yeah, just make sure you can mark it as confidential.
Okay.
Okay.
Confidential information.
Business confidential. All right.
Confidential business information.
Yeah, you know, I guess, thank you, Roy. So with that, any other board discussion? Okay, calling for the vote. The motion is to approve the rental offset. Any objections or recusals? Hearing none, the motion is approved with the information to be submitted later.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item A3, request for approval to award leases for TMK numbers 324-049-004, 324-049-006, and 24049-024. Greenpoint Nurseries Incorporated, awardee, Island of Hawaii. May I have a motion to approve the request?
So move, Jimmy.
Jimmy, and I see Diane seconds. Presentation by staff.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. I'm Brandy Ayo, property manager with the ARM division on the Big Island. Okay, so this morning we'd like to request for an approval to award leases for the TMKs number 3-2-4-049-004, 006, and 024 to Greenpoint Nurseries, Inc. awardee, Island of Hawaii. The Department of Agriculture received TMK numbers 3-2-4, 49-004, 006, and 024 from the Department of Land and Natural Resources via Governor's Executive Order number 4300 in 2009. In accordance with the Hawaii revised statutes and Hawaii administrative rules, a public notice of the disposition was published on March 8th, 2024, making available for lease 9 vacant parcels. The division received a total of 2 applications for the vacant parcels, of which one applicant qualified to submit bid proposals in accordance with the rules. This applicant submitted bid proposals for 3 parcels. Pursuant to the HAR, staff has determined that the applicant qualifies as an agricultural company, as 75% of its members qualify individually as bona fide farmers with more than 2 years of full-time farming experience, and meets the eligibility residency requirements of the Non-Ag Parklands program. Pursuant to the HAR negotiation, because one sole applicant meets the criteria for qualification, staff recommends disposition of the lease by negotiation. The upset minimum annual rentals for each parcel were agreed upon for each disposition of the lease. Exhibit A attached here 2 lists the awardees and the respective base annual rentals. Exhibit B reflects the locations of the parcels on the tax map. I do want to point out on the Exhibit A that there was a typo for the word, it's supposed to say Keokea, it says Kokea, so I just want to make that correction noted. Staff recommends that the Board of Agriculture approve issuance of the appropriate right of entry documents to the awardees for the lots and in accordance with the HAR. The subsequent issuance of the appropriate general leases subject to the completion of the lease prerequisites. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. Does anyone from the public wish to give testimony?
There are no hands raised at this time.
Okay, board discussion.
I have one, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy.
These lots in Keokea, I know it came up for public auction about a year ago. I think Brendan Baltazar has one, and William Jacinto, I think, dropped out, and Leo Kairos has another one. When do you think that this will come out again for public auction on these 3 that's vacant?
I believe we're looking at the first quarter of next year, we were gonna go out for a public notice again.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're
Because
welcome.
These 3 areas from where I see is really close to my home. They're just overgrown with black wattle and Christmas berry. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the question, Jimmy. Any further discussion by the board? Okay, hearing, seeing none, calling for the vote. Are there any objections or recusals? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Okay, on to the next item, A4. Request for consent to assignment of general lease number S-4775, Henry M. Terada and Lorraine Y. Terada, lessee assignor, Jiangguo Wang, assignee, TMK 2-2-056-054, lot 28, Panaeva Agricultural Park, Waiakea, South Hilo, Island of Hawaii, Hawaii. May I have a motion to approve the request?
So moved, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy. May I have a second?
Diane, second.
Thank you, Diane. Presentation by staff.
On April 27th, 1982, the Department of Land and Natural Resources executed General Lease 4775, a 55-year lease to Henry M. Terada and Lorraine Y. Terada. General Lease 4775 was transferred to the Department of Agriculture by Governor's Executive Order 3378 in February of 1988. For the past 42 plus years, Mr. and Mrs. Terada have been excellent stewards of the land. They've developed a thriving and successful anthurium operation. However, due to the physical ailments, their ability to maintain the farm has become more and more difficult. In accordance with the HAR and the terms of the lease, Mr. and Mrs. Terada are requesting to assign general lease 4775 to Jiangyu Wang. Jianggu Wang has over 14 years of farming experience. He is the owner-operator of Hamakua Forest Farms and is currently a sublessee of approximately 22.9 acres under the Hamakua Agricultural Cooperative. Mr. Wang utilizes the leased property to cultivate green onion, bok choy, kale, and cilantro. He would like to expand on his current operations to include anthuriums. Mr. Wang qualifies as a bona fide farmer with more than 2 years of full-time farming experience and satisfies the eligibility requirements pursuant to the HAR. There is a consideration of $165,000 for the assignment of lease. The assignment will include a farm structure, shade houses, and a large plant inventory. General lease 4775 does not include a participation clause. We recommend that the Board of Agriculture approve the assignment of general lease 4775 from Henry Terada and Lorraine Terada, lessee assignor, to Jiangwu Wang, assignee, and the consideration of $165,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. Does anyone from the public wish to give testimony?
There are no hands raised at this time.
Thank you, Stephen. Board discussion? Thank you, Jimmy.
This is just for my own information. I've noticed the Big Island, they have they have the RPT number and they have third division. What does third division mean? You have first and second division also? It's just
No. So the number 3 represents the island. So third division is the island of Hawaii. I believe 1 is Maui,
One is Oahu.
1 is Oahu. So yeah,
Maui, 4 is Kauai.
did you hear Roy? 4 is Kauai.
Thank you. That helped. Thank you. I was wondering, I see that. I said, what? Third division? I think of the military. But thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jimmy. Is there further board discussion?
I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead, Wendy.
Is it your understanding that he will continue to farm the diversified food crop in addition to the anthuriums?
No, he's gonna keep the diversified food crop at his Hamakua Ag Co-op properties that he's leasing, and then he's gonna do the anthurium farming on that property.
And are there staff positions that will be retained by him taking over the nursery?
It's a family operation, so it'll be him with his family that's gonna be utilizing the property. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, Wendy. Further board discussion? Hearing, seeing none, calling for the vote. Are there any objections or recusals? I'm sorry, now I say hearing none. The motion is approved. Moving on to item A5. Request to terminate general lease number S-4761, Vern K. Kubo and Bryce R. Kubo, lessee. Issue cancellation document and disposition of lot, TMK 2-2-056-040-040, lot 14, Panaeva Agricultural Park, Waiakea, South Hilo, Island of Hawaii, Hawaii. May I have a motion to approve the request?
So moved, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy. And second,
So moved.
thank you, Wendy. Presentation by staff.
In 1982, General Lease 4761 was awarded by the Board of Land and Natural Resources to Katsuki Kubo and Jane Kubo. The subject property was transferred to the Department of Agriculture by Governor's Executive Order 3378 in February of 1988. By Mesne assignment, the lease was transferred to Vern Kubo and Bryce Kubo in 1997. The lessee established and developed the subject property with the cultivation of macadamia nut trees. They also constructed a warehouse storage building and a farm dwelling. In 2003, Mr. Vern Kubo passed away. Bryce Kubo continued the farming operation for a number of years until he became physically disabled, which prevented him from maintaining the farm. Since then, he has made numerous unsuccessful attempts to assign the lease to an interested and qualified person. Due to Bryce Kubo's disability and his inability to farm, he has suffered financial hardship and has fallen delinquent with his annual lease rent and real property taxes. The lessee is currently in default with a lease rent balance due in the amount of $11,895.60 as of this date and is not conducting any farming activity. Numerous invoice notices have been sent to the lessee demanding payment to remedy the delinquencies, including issuance of monthly invoices showing accumulating balances due with interest fees. Numerous letters demanding the cure of various lease violations have been sent to the lessee. All efforts to work with the lessee to remedy the said defaults have been exhausted. The lessee has failed to remedy the various violations of the lease within the given times allowed or such additional periods allowed for good cause to correct the violations. Staff recommends that the Board of Agriculture approve the cancellation of General Lease 4761 pursuant to the HDOA and terminate all right, title, and interest granted to the lessee therein effective as of the date of the approval of the submittal. 2, authorize issuance of a lease cancellation document to be executed by the chairperson and recorded at the Bureau of Conveyances. 3, authorize staff to prepare TMK 3-2-2-056 -040 for disposition to the public pursuant to the HAR. And 4, approve the request to refer General Lease 4761 as a delinquent account to the Office of the Attorney General for review and disposition in accordance with the Hawaii revised statutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. Does anyone from the public wish to give testimony?
There are no hands raised at this time.
Okay. Board discussion. Diane Lay.
Thank you, Chair. Brandy, so there's a house on the property. Does Mr. Kubo live in the house?
No, he does not.
Okay, is there a tenant in it?
Not right now. It actually looks vacant. Right now, he used to have the farm work there, but it's because he hasn't been doing any farming. It just
Okay.
is vacant.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Dr. Grewal?
Yeah, so what will happen to this property after it's declared delinquent? Would it come back on the market or how would we deal with it?
Yes, so we're right now, part of the request is for us to be given the approval to prepare it to go out to the public, to get it to go out for bid, to get it leased up again.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other board discussion? Calling for the vote. Are there any objections or recusals? Seeing, hearing none, the motion is approved. Moving on to item A6, request to approve right of entry to general lease S-6024 for Isemoto Contracting Company Limited to construct a new water storage tank, pump, and piping for the existing Upolu well, lessee, Botello Hawaii Enterprises, Inc., TMK 5-5-006-002 and 003 POR, Opihi Pau and Hukia'a, North Kohala Island of Hawaii, Hawaii. May I have a motion to approve the request?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Thank you, Wendy Gady, and then Jimmy Gomes, second. Presentation by staff.
The Engineering Division of the Department of Land and Natural Resources has been coordinating with the Department of Agriculture to develop an existing U.S. Geological Survey observation well, Upolu well, and convert it for use as an agricultural well, supplying non-potable water to farmers in North Kohala. The subject well is located on TMK 3-5-5-006-002, which is currently leased by Botello Hawaii Enterprises, Inc. The purpose of this project is to provide critical water supply support to farmers in North Kohala who have been affected by the collapse of the Kohala Ditch in 2021, which cut off water supply to the agricultural community. The existing well was subject to pump testing and has demonstrated its potential to supply water to the area. Isemoto Contracting Company Ltd. has been contracted through the DLNR to construct a new well pump to convert the existing monitoring well into a production well, and construct a new 0.5 mg water storage tank with influent pipes from the well and effluent pipes out of the new storage well. The scope of work will also include the construction of an access road and perimeter fencing on the subject property. The properties affected by the construction include portions of TMK 3-5-5-006-002 and 003. The term of the agreement will commence upon the BOA approval of this request for right of entry agreement for a term of 365 calendar days unless sooner terminated pursuant to the terms set forth in the ROE. In addition, staff is requesting that the board delegate to the chairperson the authority to approve extensions to the ROE term if necessary. Staff recommends that the Board of Agriculture approve the following. Number one, the issuance of a right of entry agreement for Isimoto Contracting Company to commence with the construction of a new well pump, a new 0.5 mg water storage tank with influent and effluent pipes, an access road and perimeter fencing on General Lease 6024, and two, delegation of authority to the chairperson to extend the term of the ROE if necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. Does anyone from the public wish to give testimony?
There are no hands raised at this time.
Thank you. Board discussion. Thank you, Jimmy.
One question, Brandy, besides Botello Enterprises, how many other farmers will benefit from this well?
Well, it depends. So right now, the intent of what we plan to do upon the completion of the construction is to turn it over to the current lessee, Botello Hawaii. And then at that point, they will determine who wants to hook up potentially to this water source. And then they would have to coordinate with the lessee to get that done.
But you mean Botello's would take in charge of the water to give it out to the other lessees?
Yeah, we
And who
will,
would be paying, who the water bill would be charged to? Or who would be collecting the income?
there will, well, so it would be written in the lease. The lease would have to be amended to allow for other interested parties to hook up to this water source. So the interested party would coordinate with Botello Hawaii as far as, well, they would pay for the construction and they would have to go through whatever applications they would have to go through or whatever processes they would have to go through to get it approved. And then they would have to figure out who would pay for what share of the water.
So is Botello paying for this well? Not necessarily, is it?
No, it is not. No, I believe DLNR is heading this. I believe there was monies that was. Maybe I have somebody, Brandon Kim, I believe is on this call from DLNR. He may be able to come forward and answer that question.
Yes, this is Brandon Kim from DLNR Engineering Division. It was funded through CIP funds.
So it was funded through the state. Why would Botello's be involved in distributing the water? Wouldn't the farmer come back to the state and says, hey, I want to apply, but I'd like to get on the water line, water system?
Well, right now that pump is on the property that is currently leased by Botello Hawaii. So I guess the intent was to give him the ownership of that water source. And then from there, he would have to, like I said earlier, he would have to allow interested people to tap on if they wanted to.
I thought water rights belong to the state.
That would be, I can't answer that question.
You know, not a private individual can own water.
He
Jimmy,
doesn't, and I don't believe, so he doesn't own the water, right? So you have to, and that's why the language in the lease would be changed to allow people access to that water. They would just have to pay for it themselves if they wanted to hook up to it. So it would be available to interested farmers, but it would be at their expense.
Okay.
Jimmy, I'll defer to legal, but from what I understand, the water is not his, but the distribution system that the water uses is on his property. So the well, the structure of the well, since it's on his property, is his management. But the actual water is not what he manages.
Yeah, correct.
But
If you guys want to go for exec session, I don't.
Jimmy, is that okay with you, or should we go into executive session for further
No,
discussion?
it's okay. It's all right.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? Oh, Diane, I see your hand.
So, yeah, it seems like there's kind of some missing pieces to this for the board to, in a way, have the full picture. So has DLNR's board taken action on this? Are they going to charge fees for the water? Yeah, I mean, have they granted the?
Diane, again, I will defer to further discussion. However, from what I understand, DLNR is responsible to upgrade the well, and the management lays with the lessee, and he's welcome to charge for the distribution of the water, which is on his property, the pipes and the infrastructure. And DLNR actually, that's the only responsibility, is to repair it. Was that the question? Is there a legal question here, or is Brandon, would you know the answer to that?
Yes, this is Brandon from DLNR Engineering Division. Yes, that's correct. So we're DLNR is only doing the improvements. So we got the funding to do that. And from there, it'll get transferred to DOA or the lessee. Well, that's DOA's land. So it'll get transferred to DOA, and then I think DOA will lease the I guess the sort of maintenance and running the system. Is that correct, Brandy? I think that's correct.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it.
Wendy?
I have lots of questions. I think I'm in Jimmy's canoe paddling the same direction. So has the well been operational in the past? It has not.
It was a monitoring. It was just used for monitoring.
And it is going to be potable water, correct?
Non-potable water.
It's gonna be non-potable. And the distribution system, was that in existence, or that is completely new, put in by the lessee?
That is completely new, being put in by DLNR using state funds.
And what is the power source to operate the well?
That's a really good question. Brandon, do you happen to know the answer to that question?
We're hooking up to the existing power along the airport road, Upolu Airport Road. So I think that's through the Hawaii Electric Company.
Thank you, Brandon.
Is there any precedent in how this is handled in terms of a policy or procedure in place through the DOA in the past?
I am not familiar with any, not in terms of, no, I'm not aware of any. There may be.
Brandon, how did I believe it was legislation that brought this issue to you? Do you know of any policy that governs the way this Upolu well will be maintained?
That I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think that was the intent, was to build it. DLNR was gonna develop the well, and then it'll get transferred to Department of Agriculture, because it's on their land.
Okay, and I think if I recall from the policies, the reason it was done is because of the Kohala ditch, and it was set up as a alternate source of water for the farmers in the event that the Kohala ditch ceased to function, which I guess happened. If I see N's hand up, but we'll look into this more and work with DLNR on it. N.
No, that was going to be my thing, is really, I think for the purpose of this motion, right, it's really the ROE. So, let's get the well fixed, and then we can kind of talk about, how much draw and, capacity the well has, and, kind of cutting the pie later. The guys need the relief up there for sure. From my perspective, I think we all do have a lot of questions, and maybe a follow-up with staff. I don't know if you want us to follow up with Marcy or somebody. We can submit some questions and then have a presentation later.
Thank you, Ann, that we were getting a little off track. It is a request to approve right of entry, so thank you for that, Ann.
Can I call for the vote?
Okay. Are there any objections or recusals? Hearing none, the motion for right of entry is approved. Okay, thank you. Moving on to new old business, of which there is none. Moving on to new business, we have one non-action item, which is the invasive species. Thank you, Brandy. Invasive species action plan updates. And thank you. Presentation by Deputy Director Dexter Kishida.
Thank you so much, Chair and Board. Dexter Kishida, Deputy to the Chairperson, and also overseeing our plant industry division. So our invasive species plans are underway. The little fire ant plan has been approved by Chair. We are still doing an internal review on a coconut rhinoceros beetle invasive species plan for internally to the department. And are working on creating the coqui frog plan. And then we'll be moving on to things like two-line spittle bug and other priority pests that are sadly have popped up. We're also working with the gap filling entities to do statewide invasive species plans. We started with little fire ants, which are well on its way in articulating both a statewide view, but also an island view of how the agencies work together to combat invasive species, specifically little fire ants, coconut rhinoceros beetle, and then coqui frogs. We do have a pretty strict timeline that HISC is helping to manage with their project management team to ensure that the MOU that was signed earlier this year between agencies can be followed and executed. And through all this, the daily changes of things like Act 231 and others that influence all of this must be taken into account and figured out as we go along. So that is the update for the invasive species plans.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Deputy. We did receive testimony. Is there any public testimony?
I'm seeing no hands raised from the public.
Anyone here? Thank you.
There's no item, there's no actions.
Go Wayne.
Morning, Chair, members of the board, Winston Rock with Circle of Hawaii. I'm glad that this item has been agendized. I just feel like there's a lot more information that the public is interested in terms of, especially with coordination with the groups on the ground that are doing, you know, the frontline work and combating little fire ants and CRB. Also want to, yeah, and so, you know, really want to encourage coordination and collaboration with these people on the ground as we try to support their efforts. Also, you know, we'll really be interested in seeing what the plans are for the expenditure of the $10 million that were appropriated to, you know, for biosecurity efforts and, yeah, just updates on the invasive species rule package, which I think is about 18 months now, since the board approved them for public hearing, and that had a public hearing in January, in fact, end of January. So it's been quite a while, and not sure if there's any like issues with getting them before the board for final approval. But yeah, just wanted to raise those issues with the board.
Okay, thank you, Wayne, for your testimony. Okay. Any further testimony? Stephen, nothing?
There were no others from online.
Okay, another item on the new business is the election or approval is better word for it, of the temporary chairperson for the board for the next meeting on September the 24th, 2024. I'd like to nominate Diane Lay to serve as chairperson. And may I have a motion to approve the request?
So moved.
Thank you, Wendy. Second?
Second, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy Gomes. And does anyone from the public wish to give testimony?
No hands raised from the public.
Okay, board discussion. Thank you, Diane.
I have a question for AG. Should I recuse myself? May I recuse myself? Maybe a better question.
If you feel more comfortable, of course.
Yeah, I will. But thank you for the honor of being nominated. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Diane. The reason for this is there's the NASDA meeting during that period, and I will be unable to serve as chair, and appreciate your accepting the nomination. So, okay, we'll do a roll call vote with the recusal. I don't even know if that's a word. Sharon Hurd says yes. Deputy Director Ryan Kanaka-Ole?
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Grewal?
Yes.
Thank you. And we have Wendy Gady.
Yes.
Diane Lay has recused herself. We have Nathaniel Oswald.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Young,
Yes.
thank you. And James Gomes.
Yes. Is Mary Alice Evans still with us or no?
Mary Alice,
Absolutely,
Mary
yes.
Alice Evans is
Mhm.
just,
Okay.
guess they're giving the representation,
We're taking turns.
taking
Great.
turns.
Great, all right, thank you.
Thank you. But I'll let her know you, asked about her, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So, does anyone from the public wish to give testimony? Or did I already? No,
You pass.
pass, okay. So we had a unanimous and one recusal. The motion is approved. Thank you, Diane. We'll see you next month. Okay, so the business of the day is concluded. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Wendy Gady. Second,
Second, Jimmy.
Jimmy Gomes, and board discussion, if any.
Holy ho, kako.
Hearing none, calling for the vote. Any objections or recusals to adjourn? Okay, hearing none, the motion to adjourn is approved at 9:57. Thank you, everyone. See you
Hey,
next month.
Ian, Jimmy, where's that koa located in back of you, the background? Nice.
Oh, that's right outside of Waymale.
Wow, I thought so. I said, let's sure look like white male, but I didn't. Thank you, nice.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey,
Hello.
Jimmy, I
Yeah.
just wanted you to say that when you get a spare moment, please reach out to Mary Alice. She just celebrated 50 years as a public servant.
Wow,
amazing.
cool. That is, yeah, awesome.
Right.
I will.
And thank you, Nathaniel, for your first
Yeah.
Board of Agriculture meeting. We'll see you next month.
Hello.